All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everyone to today's session on Insight, and we will be talking about Stratum Dashboards. And hold on one second, I just want to make sure. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started today. Welcome to today's Insight session. We're going to talk about Stratum Dashboards and how to create them, how to use them, what some of the best practices are. So welcome. And again, talking about different ways of delivering your information within Stratum, and certainly dashboards is one of them, which is part of the user interface. And we'll take a look at the dashboard designer and how to create these dashboards. And then we'll dive right into a demo. Take any questions you might have. Feel free to use the chat feature for that. And then I'll let you know how you can contact me to ask any further questions, or if you have any interest in any other things about Stratum, you can feel free to contact me. But there's the Stratum Data Hub, and today we'll be concentrating more on dashboards, which is up here on the Stratum Analytics area, the quadrant up here, and getting data out of Stratum. So dashboards, web-based analysis, as you can see, primary ways of getting data from Stratum other than using Excel, different types of connectors down as part of our Access Hub. Dashboards is part of the interface, so there's no additional license for that. And as long as you're using the web-based client, you are entitled to use the dashboards as well. You need to we introduced the dashboards actually in 7.1, so we're currently on 7.6, and we introduced new Google Charts in the 7.4 dashboard version. So if you're on 7.4 or greater, you're on the latest release of the dashboard product. Um, to build a dashboard, pretty simple. Design, drag and drop capabilities. There's properties that you can go into to customize the visuals and the graphics within the dashboard area. There's actually another widget that actually it's a custom dashboard component that will allow you to link to other websites, to other reports. And so certainly that's something that's available as well. So let's take a look at how we can provide more professional looking dashboards within Stratum. And as you can see, here's just one example where you can see bar charts, line charts, pie charts, maps are available, heat maps, all kinds of different options that you can actually pursue. So definitely you want to definitely go in here and explore that. The dashboard designer, as you can see, it's accessed through the upper right hand menu. So the what I call the hamburger menu, where you can click in on that and go to manage things, and then you'll see an option there for the dashboard designer, and it's called dashboards. So that'll actually bring up a new screen within your browser. And at that point, then you can see the current dashboards that you have, if any. And if you don't have any, certainly you can create new ones. And we'll take a look at how we do that within the dashboard designer. Once you're into the designer, you'll gain access to the ability, obviously, to create new dashboards or edit existing ones. And there's a simple edit toggle where you can go in and edit existing dashboards. You can drag and drop the views as needed into the dashboard area, and it will display the view in a graphical format, depending on the different graphs that you choose. And here again, you want to use some dashboarding, or if you're graphing data or charting data, use common sense. You don't want too much data or too little. There's a fine line, obviously, and you don't want for it to be too busy. The data needs to be contextual to a certain degree. If you have data that's not necessarily consistent, the context of the chart could get lost. So some things to look at. Certainly feel free to Google best practices for charting data, and I'm sure you'll find some other options as well in terms of some common sense ideas to keep your charts reasonably, readable and without losing anyone. There's also a nice little jump to view feature so that if you do want to go beyond and see the data behind that particular visual, you can get to the view behind the visual and then you could start your drill downs. You can look at the data and without having to look at a graphical representation of it. So if you want to get to the data grid, pretty simple to get to that, and I'll show you how to do that shortly. The designer, again, getting into more settings. Once you start creating your dashboard, you'll bring in your different widgets, your different visuals, and you can go into settings to hide certain things. For instance, if you're showing the view, the data grid itself can be showed within the dashboard. You might want to hide certain things so it's not so cluttered. So you can get rid of the view name, the view filter area, the view image if you're using one. Paging controls can be hidden. All those things that you see there can be hidden so that the view is more clean. And hence making your dashboard cleaner as well. You can link content within that widget to other views using a hypertext or a URL, to other websites or anything else that you might think would be beneficial. So you can actually have an additional jump to other applications or websites if you feel the requirement to do so. As I said earlier, the new charts were introduced in version 7.4, and they're brand new Google engine charts. They look great and very professional. And again, you have different areas, different options to choose from here. And so when you choose your view to base the chart on, as you can see, there's a menu there on the right-hand side of the top level chart that you want to use. Is it a bar, column, line, pie, or data grid? So that at a high level, those are the different chart types that we provide. Now, under each one of these, there's different types of charts that you can pursue as well. So don't just think that we have, oh, it's just bar charts and line and pie charts. No, there's actually more. So if you go into each one of these components, there's heat maps, there's geographical maps, there's all kinds of things that you could pursue that you didn't think existed here. So definitely take a look at that. Um, Completely customizable. You can move the legend around if you need to. Simple and quick to create. And so definitely will give your Stratum application a more modern charting look and feel. So take advantage of it. Again, it's part of your license, so why not? Again, going in, more options in terms of customizing the chart. As you can see, there's an edit button, so you can actually select the different property menu options for that particular chart. You can select what the chart is actually charting. Your view might have more columns in it than you want to chart, perhaps. So you can go in there and you can limit the number of columns the chart will render in the chart format. Um, and this will allow you to make the chart more simple and concise so that it tells a better story. Here we can see that here's just an example of the different chart types under like the bar chart area. As you can see, there's combinational charts, there's a bubble chart. So definitely different customizations are available here. So you can really make it your own. As I said earlier, the custom widget is available where you can actually point folks to other websites and content, to other reports, whether that's maybe an SSRS or Power BI, or any other miscellaneous content you can think of that would provide value for the user. And in this case, as you can see, you could put in that URL right there so that they can the widget will actually display that URL within the dashboard. My name's Adam Kurtz. You can contact me. There's my email address and my phone number. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions about any of this or anything else regarding Stratum. I'd be glad to answer any of your questions and have any discussion you might want to. All right, so now we're going to take a look at this as a in live and direct as a demo. So here we have our demo environment, and this is the latest, greatest 7.6. So we definitely have the new charts that are available. So let's go into the dashboard designer and we'll take a look at some of the dashboards we already have, and we'll take a look at how we can go in and create a new dashboard from scratch. So if I go into my hamburger menu up in my right-hand corner here, I can see, click on that, go into manage things, and sure enough, there's my dashboard menu. And so if I click on that, it will then open up the dashboard site, and it will then show me the dashboards that I've built so far. If I go into one of my sales dashboards, I can see that there's a dashboard that's already built for me under sales dashboard, and I can see that it's using some bar charts, a pie chart there to the right, and then I've also got a data grid down on the bottom. So as different widgets we can see available here, we're as you can see using the bar chart widget, the pie chart widget, and then also the data grid widget. If we were to look at and go into edit mode, as you can see, there's an edit button there that would allow me to actually make changes to this particular dashboard. And so there's my different graphical components that are available. If I were to add a new graphical component to this, then I can go ahead and select what graph that I want to make available here. But we'll leave this one alone since that one looks pretty finished as it is. So we'll stop editing, and we'll create a new one from scratch. So you have a kind of a feel for how to go in and create some of these. So I'm going to go stop editing mode. I'm going to come up here and click on my new dashboard plus sign, and it's going to tell me to name the dashboard. And I'm just going to call this sales dashboard example. As you can see, you can name it whatever you want. And right away, it tells you, it gives you a tip about selecting the different chart types that you see there in the right-hand menu there. So, and you can obviously read through that, but essentially it's just telling you that you must select one of these before you can drag and drop the view over. So notice that on the right-hand side are all my view groups that are available within Stratum. So that should allow you to go into those view groups and select a given view so that you can create a dashboard. So for instance, if I were to want to have a column chart, then I can select a view here and drag and drop the view over to get my column chart created initially. Now, it needs work. As you can see, it's charting everything and it just looks horrible. So this is what I would call not a good best practice in terms of a chart. It's just no context. It's highly not readable. It's not great. So how can we fix this? How can we make this more suitable for our dashboard? And so I guess the first thing you want to ask yourself is, what view should you use in this case? Or should I just go in and customize the widget here, the visual? Well, certainly you can do that, right? While I'm here, I might as well just go in and take a look at the customization options that I have for this particular visual. So if I go into my edit item, it's a little pencil there, appropriately enough. It'll then take me into my customization area, and then I can go in and select what data I want to chart, because clearly as you can see, we're charting everything. And this view, I know this view, and it has some things in there that I don't want to include in the chart. Essentially, I just want this year and last year's sales. So if I go into the actual chart data, it will then send me into the data for the chart menu, and indeed, as you can see, everything is selected. So basically, what you want to do is deselect the items here that you don't want to chart. So or you could just build a view with the items in it that you want to chart, so that you don't necessarily have to come in here and mess around with the settings. Either way, you should get what you want out of it. And as you can see here, I can just select the columns that I want to select. For instance, this year and last year's sales, which is basically these two columns here. So everything else being unselected, that should clean up the visual quite a bit. And yeah, so there you have it. That looks a lot better. Furthermore, if I wanted to go into the actual chart data and format or chart type and format area, then I can kind of mess around with the chart types. So here we can see that it came in as just basically as a bar chart, and I can kind of mess around with the different areas, recommended charts that are available, and kind of just take a look at these and see what they look like. Interestingly enough, right? So I can kind of go in there, and this is very cool, right? So I can actually go in and take a look at some of this. Farm Fresh being one of my top product groups, first choice coming in there, some of the lower volume areas. Pretty cool. If I want to take a look at more here, if I click on the more button, there's the different areas that I can pursue here, and really kind of change things around. If I wanted to make this a pie chart or a bar chart, I can pursue some of this. I might have to, as you can see, select, make some settings. Yeah, so as you can see, it doesn't match the current data selected. So I'd have to make some changes in order for it to use the pie chart, but definitely would be available. Here we can see the scattergrams. We took a look at some of these. This is another one here for this year and last year's sales. If we hover over Farm Fresh, we can see that indeed Farm Fresh is coming in on top this year and last year. So very cool. You can go in and take a look at some of the stacked or side by side. Very cool. And I could do the same thing with my columns, area charts. Very simple to kind of move around. All kinds of different ways to look at the data, line, graphs, combinations. Yeah, I don't even know what that chart type is. And interestingly enough, it's interesting. So some of this would have to, you'd have to finagle the data a little bit more, but odometers, gauges are available, a tree map, organized charts, a simple table. It's pretty vast. I didn't realize how deep it was until I really kind of delved into some of the other chart types that are available here. So kind of cool to play around with it. Um, but getting back to my bar chart, that's what if I just want to keep it clean like that, and then I can just kind of stretch that out a little bit. I can refresh it so that it looks better. Maybe I move my legend around a little bit too. If I go back into the settings, I can go back into the chart type edit menu, and it will allow me to change if I go into my customize tab, then I can move my legend around as well. Maybe I want to see it on the top. Might be a good place for it. Gives you a little preview of it as well, so you can actually see what it looks like before you commit it. And yeah, that looks a lot better. Cool. So another thing I could do is maybe add in a pie chart next to it. So as you can see here on the right-hand side, coming over here and selecting now the pie chart menu. I could use the same view, certainly, if I wanted to, or any other view that would give me, something that I can build the pie chart on. Again, I'm going to go back in and select the data that I want to chart. Um, I would go back in and deselect these as needed. I am working to see if we can get a select all, deselect all for that. Clearly, I think we need one. And then I'm just going to base this on current year's sales. So we'll just select one, given that this is a pie chart, we'll just select one measure, and that would be year-to-date sales. And that's actually looks pretty good. So we'll close that out, and there's my pie chart for um, the different product families that I have there as well. Let me just kind of give myself a little bit more room here. So that looks pretty good. I can probably shrink this down a little bit and move this over. There we go. Spread that out a little bit. So as you can see, you'll spend quite a bit of time just kind of, going in. Again, I could play the same game with that. Um, the legend. So for this legend, I'm going to move that one to the top as well. It just looks better, way better. Okay, cool. So, on our way, right? We're building out some visuals, and if we were to roll this out to a customer, if they wanted to like jump to the view behind some of these visuals, they'll see that visual there once you publish this out to your user community, and then they can click on that and open the view behind that particular chart, and then they can start doing their drill downs as needed and doing the necessary analysis if they wanted to take it further, other than just looking at the data from the dashboard. So there's always a way to get the view behind the visual so that the users can actually start doing further drill downs, getting more detail as needed. Um, Another thing we can do is add in a data grid down below. That might look good too. So we're going to come over here and select the data grid chart type, and we'll just show that view. I mean, essentially, we'll just drag and drop that view over, and we can just stretch that out a bit so that it looks pretty good. So we can make that available too. And we'll stretch this out so it kind of matches that. Yeah, so that's looking good. So we're gonna leave that as is. Looks like we're basically going to um, oh, well, looks like we got rid of our bar chart. Let's add that back in. There we go. And then our pie chart as well. Like it kind of whacked it. So again, if I were to save all my settings, oh, there's my pie chart. Looks like I duplicated some things. You can always delete widgets if you need to very quickly, just by going into the settings and clicking on delete. If I were to stop editing, that kind of takes me into a read mode at this point. If I right click on that dashboard example, if I open that into a new tab, it'll actually give me the URL to that dashboard. Okay, and I can copy and paste that. If you wanted to roll this out to your users, then you can go into your application settings, and under 7.6, there's a new application setting where you would go into system configuration and add this as a home page. So if I were to save that and go to home, that dashboard now becomes my home page. So that's just one way you can roll out your dashboards, is via the home page. You could also go into your user roles or groups, and you can roll it out by group. For instance, if I wanted this particular user group to get this to override the home page, and then they would get this dashboard. So anybody that belonging to this group would actually see this dashboard as their home page. So that's at the group level, the user group level. Another thing you can do is manage it at the user level. So each user profile, for instance, if I were to go into my user profile, I can actually override the home page and have a dashboard as my home page just for me. So now security administrators have to set this up. So every user can't just come in and override their home page. That has to be set up by the security administrator, which is a good thing. We don't want users just going out there and picking out whatever they want to pick for their home page. That's something that you should control as part of the application administrator. So, but yeah, I mean, certainly you can make that a dashboard. Another thing you can do is make it a user link. We have our standard on Stratum. We have some good examples where I can come in and click on customer sales analysis, and that's basically just a link to a dashboard where I can see the dashboard built with the mapping feature. I can see greener states are some of my higher volume states. Other lower states that need a little bit of work in terms of the numbers. But Illinois, we see Ohio here, California coming in so-so, AZ so-so, and Texas so-so. But again, this is what the different things that you can do. These are great examples of how well thought out and how good these look. This is exactly what something that I would roll out to my users, where I've got a top 10 customers with the greatest sales decrease, the greatest sales increase. You're right away, you're seeing some areas where you need to work on, where I'm seeing some sales decreases here that I need to work on some of these accounts. And then I see my bigger growth items out, accounts out there. So, if I were a sales rep, I'd love to see this on a daily basis, no doubt about it. Um, other ideas, the gross margin dashboard telling me a different story. Notice how each dashboard has the theme that's business oriented. This one is more profit related. Here's a good example of a customizable or a combinational chart where I can see what my gross margins are and this year versus last, and I can see the percentages this year versus last as well. Dual axes reports, as you can see, so that you can kind of put everything on one combinational chart. Looks good. And then again, top customers, top products for profitability this year versus last. So, yeah, I mean, these look really good. And this is exactly, kind of the balance that you're looking for here in terms of, just natural cosmetic of this dashboard just looks good, right? So this is what I would recommend, not too busy, not too light, right in the middle. Tell a good story, give the users the ability to jump to the data behind it, obviously, and then they can just dive right into the analytics of the dashboard and start doing the drill downs that they need to do. Get more detail behind the visual. This is what Stratum excels at, is providing the detail behind some of the aggregate level visuals that the dashboarding provides.